My mentions are he, they, she, hey, they, fucking, I identify as a helicopter. God damn it.
Nick Mercs and Sneeko, who, if you don't remember, Nick Mercs a while back was actually canceled and taken out of Call of Duty. He had a skin of himself inside of Call of Duty, and because he said that people need to stay away from kids and that we shouldn't be pushing, trans ideology, woke ideology onto kids, he got his skin, Nick Mercs did, removed from Call of Duty. Nick Mercs and Sneeko are going after Chris Tyson from Mr. Beast for multiple different things, but obviously the main thing being, transitioning, and the rumors are that he left his wife and his kids kind of out to dry. Definitely, if it's not true, Chris Tyson did leave his kids out to dry in the sense, in the realm of being a father figure. That's not there because he's not a father anymore. Apparently he transitioned into being a female. I don't know. Anyway, Nick Mercs went off on not just Chris Tyson, but a lot of other people out there saying that they should stay away from kids. And in this video, he got a lot of backlash because, of course, he's out here defending Dr. Disrespect, who was accused of a lot of different things by Twitch moderators. Twitch moderators are not the most reliable sources of information. I will believe it whenever I see evidence of it. I'm not saying that he's innocent, not saying that he's not. Never watched Dr. Disrespect. Don't really care one way or the other. But it seems like it's a clear divide between the woke left. Obviously don't like Dr. Disrespect very much, and they're trying to accuse him of texting younger people, texting minors, and trying to meet up with them at TwitchCon. And Nick Mercs and people like that are saying, hey, let's just wait and see. Let's see. Like, I'll hear out the evidence. But as of now, we have no evidence other than Twitch mods coming out and saying it on Twitter. And that's not a very reliable source of information. Anyway, let's check out this clip here of Nick Mercs just going off on those people, and then we'll get into Sneeko and Nick Mercs destroying Chris Tyson here in a second.
Yo, checking in. Look, I open Twitter. Bunch of my mentions are he, they, she, hey, they, fucking, I identify as a helicopter. God damn it. And I seen the couple tweets about the doc. I'm as taken back as a lot of you guys are, okay? But the fact remains that these are some crazy accusations. Crazy. Big time accusations. And until we know more, until we know them as fact, until they've been proven with evidence, what are we talking about? What's anybody talking about? As far as the leave the little kids alone stuff, this doesn't make it any further from the truth. Leave little children out of your shit. Have a nice day. Yo.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, oh, look how hypocritical they are. These Twitch mods came out and accused Dr. Disrespect, therefore he must be guilty. And, the right, Dr. Disrespect, Nick Mercs, and these guys have been saying to stay away from kids. How hypocritical. It's like, well, we don't know that he's guilty. We don't know he's innocent either, but we have no evidence to prove that he's guilty. And in my book, it's still innocent and proven guilty, even though that's not how the country seems to be going nowadays. But even if he is guilty, that takes nothing away from what Nick Mercs was saying in the past, and definitely takes nothing away from what people like Sneeko and all these rest of these guys have been saying. Just stay away from kids when it comes to pushing these agendas. We also have these tweets here from Nick Mercs and Chris Tyson going at it. Let's check this out here. I'll move it down so you can see. Me, every time I post on Twitter /POS, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what that means. I don't know, like Twitter /POS. Like, I know what POS normally means, but I don't get it. Anyway, not important. We just know that Chris Tyson is definitely, or Ava Chris Tyson, apparently is their name now, is going after Nick Mercs because why not? And Nick Mercs responds to this tweet here from Ava Chris Tyson and says, you should be ashamed of yourself, leaving behind your wife and child to play pretend. One day you'll wake up and realize what you've done. And I mean, this ratio is something serious here. This ratio is pretty crazy. 1.5K for Chris Tyson and then 28K for Nick Mercs there. That's not the end of it though. Mr. Beast actually responded to this, which we'll get into in 1 second, but I do want to get into what Sneeko had to say about the whole thing as well, because Sneeko and Chris Tyson, or Chris from Mr. Beast, went at it as well. We have Ava Chris Tyson. Sorry. Mad Jimmy kept the, I can't say this word. Apparently they can say it, but I can't. This, the trans person and not your loser ass, talking about Sneeko, because Sneeko did work for Mr. Beast in the past, and apparently he either left or got fired or whatever. And Chris Tyson stayed around, Sneeko didn't. So that was kind of the own from Chris Tyson there. Sneeko responds and says, I became my own man. You leached off one and still failed, and is also not a man anymore. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good response there from Sneeko. And it's a good ratio as well. 1.4K likes to 1.4K there for Sneako, 658 for Chris Tyson. But that's not the end of this situation between Chris Tyson and Sneako at all. Chris Tyson says Sneako doesn't see Jimmy putting wells in Africa, helping the blind see, and the deaf hear as saving lives. Only when Jimmy says trans bad will he actually have made a difference in this world to Sneako. Then Sneako responds to that and says, if you want to pretend to be a woman, do it off camera. Do not be selfish. Do not damage Jimmy's philanthropic reputation. Do not confuse a generation of children by celebrating puberty blockers and genital, that word that I can't say. And then Chris Tyson responds to that and says, you know, you're mad Jimmy kept the trans person and not your loser ass. So that wasn't the full context there, is the full context there. And obviously, I think Sneako's response is pretty good. You know, I became my own man. You leached off one, or tried to leech off one, and you still failed. But this isn't the end of this situation either. Mr. Beast is actually responding directly to this situation as well. Mr. Beast is such a good effing friend, says this person blue right here. And this is a tweet here from Drama Alert. It says, Nick Mercs calls out Chris Tyson. You should be ashamed of yourself, leaving behind your wife and child to play pretend. Mr. Beast responds to Nick Mercs and says, Ava, who is, I guess that's what Chris Tyson wants to be called now. Ava is literally always with her kid and doesn't even go on shoots to spend more time with him. Tuckman is always smiling, not sure why this rumor is a thing. So I guess Tuckman is the kid's name. I hope it's not actually Tuckman. I think it's probably Tucker or something. Tuckman is always smiling, not sure why this rumor is a thing. So apparently Mr. Beast is trying to put the rumors to bed that Chris Tyson left his kid behind and his wife and kid behind. And now there's, I mean, whether or not Chris sees the kid at this point, it's kind of irrelevant in my opinion. I think it's probably best if Chris doesn't see the kid at this point. Just, you know why. I don't have to explain it. I don't have to spell it out, in black and white. But the main thing that I have an issue with is the fact that the kid has no father figure now. And that's not because of divorce. It's not because of, something tragic happening. It's because of a selfish choice by the father. And now there is no father figure in that kid's life. And the way that kid is going to grow up and see the world is going to be not even close to what reality is. So that's my main problem with it. And I think that's what Nick Mercs is saying. That's what Sneako's saying. That's what all these people who are criticizing Chris from Mr. Beast are trying to say. They're not trying to say you're actually absent, like you're never going to try to see the kid. Just saying like the kid's not going to have a father anymore. Cassandra McDonald responds to Mr. Beast there and says, Mr. Beast is defending the creepy trans dude on his channel who abandoned his wife. If your kid watches this, you may want to go ahead and end that. I would have to agree. You might not want your kids watching this. But of course, there's the other side of the coin. It says, I'm not a huge Mr. Beast fan, but his repeated defense of his trans friend / co-star throughout their transition from hateful bigots is actually so important. And with his influence and reach to young boys, this stuff is going to be his most important legacy. You see, you understand the irony here, right? Chris Tyson tells Sneako that no matter what Mr. Beast does, putting wells in Africa, helping the blind see, helping the deaf hear, like literally, that's not, he's actually doing those things. None of that matters, says Chris Tyson to Sneako. The only thing that will matter to Sneako is if Mr. Beast says trans bad. The ironic part about all of this is that these tweets right here prove that the other side thinks the same way, just the other way. No matter what Mr. Beast does, all these philanthropic efforts that he has, all these charities that he does, all these businesses that he's running and making billions of dollars, none of that matters. The only thing that matters, and it's spelled out here, this stuff is going to be his most important legacy. What is going to be his most important legacy? Showing that being trans is okay to young boys. That's the most important part. To the young boys. Do you guys see this? You guys, it's kind of just out in the open now. And reach to young boys. This stuff is going to be his most important legacy, IMO. That's, number one, ironic as hell. Hypocritical as hell, because Chris Tyson is literally saying to Sneako, criticizing Sneako of exactly what this person is doing, just in the other direction. No matter what Mr. Beast does, all of his philanthropic stuff that he does, doesn't matter as long as he just says trans bad. That will be the only thing that could possibly, show that, prove to Sneako that Mr. Beast is trying to make the world a better place. The other way around is nothing else matters. None of the, like I said, wells in Africa, helping the blind see, none of that stuff. None of it matters. Only thing that matters is that Mr. Beast is showing to young boys that this is okay to do. It's okay to be a father, have a child, and then decide, I don't want to be a man anymore. Like not figuratively, not like, oh, you want to be weak. No, like you're just actually going to be a woman now. You're just not even going to be a father anymore. Just absolutely wild stuff, man. Let me know in the comments what you think about what Nick Mercs had to say to Chris Tyson, about what Sneeko had to say to Chris Tyson, about Mr. Beast's response to the whole thing. It's getting crazy out there. I feel like this situation is just starting to heat up. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking about this whole Chris Tyson versus Nick Mercs and Sneeko situation.